Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Phoenix podcast. If you're new here, my name is Gervase Kolmos, inner transformation coach, all around messy, magical human. And I want to tell you a personal story. I'm loving using this platform to share more long-form personal stories about how I take the Phoenix path and how I take inner knowing and this way of womaning and I apply it to my very basic life. Because I'm not, one of the rich and famous. I'm just a normal person who also believes she gets to create a life that feels on the inside as good as it looks on the outside. And I meet far too many women who are doing this in reverse. Focusing first on having the life that checks all the boxes and looks a certain way and being good and, achieving the right milestones and showing face at the right things and even like saying yes to the right obligations, even when inside it feels like a no. Inside, it feels like it's not enough. Inside, it feels like something's missing. And so I want to tell you about this dance party that I had on a rooftop last week for my friend Andrea's birthday, and why it is a perfect example of how easy it is for women to play small and crunch themselves into pretzels to be good, high-achieving, performance-based, good moms, instead of creating a fucking life that feels amazing, that is centered around joy. So my friend Andrea Serrano. She is amazing. You should all follow her on Instagram if you don't already. And she is a person in my life who is constantly embodying for me how good life gets to be, how good it gets to feel. She does such an intentional job of really creating a life that feels good, that feels like art, that feels like a full expression of her. And so everybody is drawn to her. And I especially love her so much because finding her was like finding a little diamond amongst a sea of rocks. And it is no surprise to me that for her birthday, she planned herself a very fantastic, fabulous rooftop party at this awesome hotel downtown Charleston with a mystical, magical theme. So there was a dress code. Also, she's a stylist. So I understood the assignment. Look fabulous. Okay, that's fun. There was a DJ, 100 people were invited, dress code, drinks, appetizers, the whole thing. And from 12 to 3 on a Thursday, she invited people to a rooftop to dance with her DJ and celebrate her birthday. So when I got her birthday invitation a month ago, I remember looking at it and going oh, wait, this is on a work day? That's interesting. And looking at my calendar, I have a Google Calendar that basically manages my life. It is my personal assistant, and I literally don't know how anybody does life without one. And I look at my Google Calendar and I see that I have a client call from 12 to 1, but everything else is free. And this party's from 12 to 3. And I remember thinking I didn't RSVP on the invite itself because I was oh, let me just make sure I can move things around. But I did two things. Which is one, I added this event to my existing calendar. So I blocked off my calendar from 12 to 3. Obviously, there was a session that was already there that we're going to deal with in a minute. I blocked off my calendar for 12 to 3. And then a couple days later, I was doing my Nuuly clothing rental for the month, which, by the way, if you want a discount code, DM me on Instagram at Gervase Kolmos and I will give it to you. I've been using Nuuly for 3 years and I'm obsessed with it. And it's so fun for things like this, where I plan my month ahead and I pick out my outfits in advance and I don't panic shop on Amazon or anything. So I go through my Nuuly and I have this party in my mind and I find this dress that has been in my Nuuly closet for a really long time. And I'm oh, I've been wanting to try this dress. I get it in my Nuuly. So two things are happening immediately. And this is relevant because I think that what it could have been easy to do is either A, see that invitation and ignore it. Be I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to make this work. I have maybe a story in my head that Thursday from 12 to 3 is going to be too tricky for me in my life, and avoid it, or to immediately be I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I'll deal with that later, but I'm not going to block my calendar and I'm not going to order the dress. But for me, by doing those two things, I was immediately signaling to my subconscious, this matters. This is a priority for me. I haven't dealt with all the loose ends. I haven't changed the client call yet. I haven't figured out how I'm going to get there. I haven't done all the things I'm about to tell you about. But I have created space in my life for this to matter and prepared myself. Okay. A lot of women I meet are like, oh, I couldn't go. I don't have anything to wear. Nuuly for me is this luxurious investment that I make every month that literally does this thing where I was just so tired of my own excuses about like not having things to wear and not having time to shop. And I prioritize this time because when I look good, it makes me feel good. Like, shocking newsflash. It's not rocket science, right? And when I feel like I have the right thing to wear to that party, to that dinner, to that costume party, to that event, I show up differently. I prioritize that event. I don't let what would be fun and, you know, life-giving for me fall to the wayside just because I don't have this thing to wear. I learned from a lot of experiences, a lot of trial and error, that this really helps me. So I block it off. I think to myself, this could be a little bit tricky, but I'm definitely going to go. Like, I just don't know how long I'm going to go for, or, you know, I just don't know how it's going to shake out, but like, this matters. So it comes closer to the time of the event, and I am like looking at my calendar probably the week before, because this is just how I roll. If you look at your calendar the day before or the month before, good for you. But I'm really like anchoring into my calendar the week before, and we fast forwarded now a few weeks, by the way, and I see this client session and I think to myself, okay, the time is now approaching. I definitely am going to this party. So why am I keeping this client session from 12 to 1? Because then realistically, if I plan this out, then I'm going to have to get ready after that session. I'm going to have to drive there. Maybe the earliest I get there is 2. It ends at 3. So I think to myself, okay, what are the things around this joy bursting event that are going to make it feel crunchy, that are going to make it feel like I am just squeezing it in, just making enough space and time in my calendar for this thing, and like playing small, really. And it was like this client session and kid pickup. I cannot tell you how many women I saw at that event who, and I'm not judging, I'm just saying this is life, who were like, I have to go, I have to leave early because I got to pick up my kids from school. Most people that are moms know if your kid is in school, they get out between 2 and 3. Personally, I usually have to leave at 2 unless they're in aftercare, and then I have to be there by 4. My kids actually had aftercare that day. And I remember just thinking, I don't know how this day is going to go. I have a partner that we try to share this load. So I organize this with my partner. And I'm like, hey, on this Thursday, I'm going to be at Andrew's birthday party. Can you handle kid pickup? I'm not available until like 4. I don't want to pick up anybody. I don't want to like rush or be late. And it would just be so great if you could do it, because you can, because we split this anyway. And then I reach out to my client and I say, hey, this isn't a deal breaker because my clients definitely have priority in my life and my calendar. But I also think that my clients come to me because they want to be in the energy of somebody who embodies living this way. You know, leadership through being fully alive, not leadership through guilt and responsibility and obligation. I think women have enough of that. I think that muscle is very strong in all of us. And so I reached out to my client and I was like, hey, I've got this thing. Would it be possible to move it at this time, or this time? And she says, as my clients always do, no problem. We moved the session earlier that day. I also want to say it's really interesting. Like, when I became an entrepreneur and began, having my own relationships with my clients and scheduling, women have a lot of weird energy around their scheduling and their obligations, and like pushing and forcing to show up for things that obviously are not working. Like, the kid is sick and I could reschedule, but I don't want to reschedule because it makes me look irresponsible or, I don't know, flaky. And I set that right away with my clients. Like, we are all grown women, responsible women here. And also, don't come to a session if you can't be present. That's a waste of your money and it's a waste of my time, because we can do really good work when we're both fully able to be in the session, right? And so I don't make a big deal about my clients rescheduling, and they usually don't make a big deal about me rescheduling. And it happens like more often than probably is like typical. I personally don't have any weird energy around it. And when weird stuff comes up for a client in anything that relates to a container with me, I'm like, oh, this is valuable data. This is teaching us something about your system and your relationship to X, Y, and Z rules. And so I'm not here to make it bad or wrong. I'm not here to pretend that I'm perfect, but let's explore this. Let's dive into it, right? So anyway, moving a client session was actually not that big a deal. I don't do it in a cavalier way. And I feel like I have this level of trust with my clients that they trust that if I'm moving it, it's because it's going to allow me to show up and do my job better. And I expect that from them as well. And I think that's also relevant because I was talking to the friend of mine that I got ready with. And I was like, oh, what time do you have like a deadline? What time do you need to be home? And she was like, well, I should like show face with my team at 3:30. And I was like, why do we become entrepreneurs to show face? Like, I don't get this, because I literally created a career for myself out of my imagination. And how many entrepreneurs out there listening are like, yes, I made this a thing. And now I'm going to play by some rules of like showing up and, showing face. And I was like, friend, didn't you become an entrepreneur for freedom? Why don't you lead your team to aliveness by saying to them, hey, people that I pay to support me, not people that are my parents, I'm doing this thing because it matters to me. And you get to trust me and watch me do it. And you might have stories around that, and that's okay. That's your own stuff. And this is actually the way I'm going to lead our team today. And so that's what she did. She was like, whoa, thank you for that reframe. And she came with me. And we had a freaking fantastic time. And we didn't rush home to pick up the kids. We didn't rush home to have team meetings. We didn't rush home to see our clients. We scheduled our day around joy. We scheduled our day around this party, because what is the point of going to the party if you're not going to enjoy yourself? What is the point of putting it on your calendar if you're not really present and making space for it? Whether it is a client call, a team meeting, or a dance party on a rooftop, there are so many things that we have leverage over that we're not owning. It wasn't like going to this party was just so easy for me, or I didn't have responsibilities, or I didn't have intention and thought about how I was doing it, or I didn't have to brush up against internalized limits of a culture that tells me like a good mom picks her kid up on time and does everything herself, or like a good entrepreneur would never reschedule an appointment, or, a professional doesn't play in the middle of the day. And what I'm saying to you is that what I realized as we got to this party, we looked freaking fabulous. There's a DJ, something you probably know about me, like dance is my medicine. Like I heard a DJ, I was talking to somebody, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm needed over here. I must go. And then I danced my face off for like 2 hours. And it was so easy. It was so normal for me, because I've done so work to align more with my inner knowing, my natural essence, my soul, my joy, my vitality, my aliveness, my pleasure, than the limiting beliefs and the conditioning of a culture that tells me like, oh no, perfection is the prize and professionalism is the prize. Checking all the boxes, not rocking the boat, showing up, saving face, like putting in the time and the work, that is the prize. And I just have talked to way too many women to really believe this is it. And I realize that all the work I've done, all the alignment with my inner knowing, all the alignment, and like it feels easy to feel good for me. And this is like Andrea's medicine, right? Like I heard so many people make comments like, oh, Andrea threw herself her own birthday party. Oh, Andrea, this is like, isn't this a little much? Or like, oh, it must be nice. Like, I got a text message from somebody like, oh, well, I couldn't get away from work today. Or like, I couldn't make time for that in my day. And I'm not saying that doesn't get to be real for some people. I'm not at all bypassing what is real, right? But let's talk about the stories. Let's talk about the drama that women put in their minds, that the ways that they handcuff themselves, chain themselves in lives and responsibilities and ways of performing and being perfect and managing their time that are almost like traumatic responses to a culture that conditions them, that grooms them to be needless and wantless, to be joyless, to be polished on the outside, but dead on the inside. I'm suggesting that the work that I've done to align more with polishing my insides has manifested on the outside. And now I get to have both. And every day is not dancing on a rooftop day, but be fucking sure when I get invitations to have some fun, when I get invitations to be a lot, to, make extra time and space for myself, like I say yes now. And you get to as well. And I'm not saying that you won't feel resistance to this at first, whether you're a stay-at-home mom in the trenches with kids who has the whole story that you don't get to have any time and space for yourself because you don't bring in money, which is our internalized capitalism. We all know that mothering is like the most exhausting, grueling job on the planet. Or you are, a corporate boss, burning the candle at both ends, leading your team to scale and growth and capitalize on our finances by burning the candle at both ends. I am suggesting, what if we had more women who were fully alive? What if we had more women who made space in their calendars for their joy, for their pleasure, and realized and trusted that is going to make so much of a difference? That has its role and its value and its place in a culture that tells us joy is not a really good reason. That pays it forward to the teams we work for and our kids and the communities we belong to and our marriages. One woman was saying like, oh, I felt guilty leaving in the middle of the day to come to this party because my husband was home working. And it just felt a little weird. Like he's working and shouldn't I be working too? And my response to that was, is that the marriage that you want? Is that the dynamic in your marriage that would lead to you both feeling the most fully expressed, satisfied, joyful, sexually connected? This masculine pushing, doing it all ourselves, like trying to beat our men at work is not doing any favors for our relationships. Again, disclaimer, that is not to say, don't go after your dreams. Don't build something awesome. Don't work hard for it. If you think I haven't worked my fucking ass off to be an entrepreneur and have a podcast and make time for clients and pay for childcare and the whole thing, you're wrong. I just refuse to let that be my entire identity. I refuse to let that be the thing that gets between me and my husband every single day because I'm trying to prove my worth to him through how much effort I put out. We know the inner work is working when feeling good is easy. When it becomes accessible and normal and easy for us to just feel good. And then guess what happens? We give permission to our partners to also create lives that feel good while trusting they're not going to exploit us and take advantage of us. Like that's not the vibe inside my marriage. It's a dance. It's a give and a take. It's a trust fall. And in that trust fall, we say to each other, like, I believe I get to have a joy-filled, pleasure-filled, abundant, sexy, juicy life. And I believe you do too. And I will do everything I can to give that to you. And I also expect that in return from you. So I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to feel guilty. I'm not going to like crunch a girl's day into like a girl's hour just because I feel so entangled in and trapped in these limiting stories about what I'm allowed to have and how good I'm allowed to feel and how much space I'm allowed to occupy. I'm simply going to practice connecting with my inner knowing, practice unhooking from the capitalistic agenda and bullshit of our culture, and practice feeling good, and practice being fully expressed, and practice going where the light is. This is what I tell my children when we're talking about friendships. I'm like, friendships feel like sunshine. Lean towards the sunshine, people, especially when you're young. Like it should not be hard. And I think so often we get this imprint from so many different environmental factors and experiences and people and real life that say like, ugh, you have to earn your sunshine. Can you even imagine a tree trying to earn sunshine? It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You don't have to earn anything. You get to step by step, little by little, wherever you are on your Phoenix spiral path, make choices that contribute to you being the most fully expressed, alive version of yourself. And to do this, we have to untangle who they told us to be, untangle all the noise and the stories in our mind that make us feel like we should check the box or perform or try to keep up or push or impress those around us. And we have to instead align with, okay, my inner knowing. What's real for me? What is honest? How am I? Who am I? What makes me feel most alive? Where is my sunshine? Because if I can bloom, moving from a tree to a flower, if I can bloom in this garden box, then the rest of the garden box will thrive. I am part of an ecosystem that only benefits when I thrive. And I get to design more and more and more of my life around joy and my inner knowing. And I didn't get here today dancing on a rooftop on a Thursday with no preconceived notions or stories or limits. Just snap my fingers one day. I've been at this for a decade. I've been deciding this matters. And I feel like it would be easy to look at me from the outside and just be like, oh, well, I'm different. I have more trauma. I have more limits. My husband's different. My job's different. And I just want to remind you, you can work backwards and find me in that first moment when I was crying to my therapist every day for 5 months after I had my first baby, when I had to have these tiny moments of deciding what's it going to be, checking the box, doing what I should do, doing what I think makes me worthy, or honoring where I'm at, honoring what would feel like safety and sunshine and okayness, quitting that job and feeling everything on the other side of that, right? So don't mistake where I am now with this, mountaintop experience that you don't get to have. And what I notice with the clients is they reach it so much faster because they've got me in their pocket, right? You can change your life leaps and bounds. As soon as you decide it's worth it, you get to, it makes a huge difference, and it's possible for you too. And so if that is you, I really just wanted to share my story, be a living example of this for you. Just the way that Andrea has been this for me, I have other friends in my life that are always holding up the mirror, like showing me how good it gets to feel, how good it gets to be. Take up the space, be all of it. Who the fuck am I trying to play small for and impress by being pious and meek and humble and dead inside? Nobody. It's not going to turn on my husband. It's not going to make my kids want to be around me. It's not going to get me a raise at work. It's not going to help my clients have wild transformations. One thing is going to do that. Connecting to my inner knowing and being so fully myself, being so fully alive, being so fully expressed and connected to my essence and the parts of me that naturally want to bloom. So if that is you, please take my story and run with it. If you want to take this work deeper, we have the Inner Knowing Immersion. This is a new offering created from the depths of my heart and soul. It is a deep, deep space with me, but it's great if you were like, I want one-on-one coaching, but I don't want to invest in the whole thing, and you're just not sure where to begin. It is 2 90-minute deep one-on-one sessions with me, followed by a custom hypnosis track that I'm going to craft from our time together. I'm literally taking 2 of these a month. And after our second session, I'm blocking off 4 hours in the second half of my day. And I am immersing myself in your field. Because what happens when I work with someone one-on-one is I really open a portal between us where I can really feel and intuit everything that your soul wants to share and the fullest expression of who you're here to be, what's in your way, and where your sunshine is. And from that place, deep in my immersive, spell casting mode, I'm going to craft a truly custom hypnosis track. You can learn more about hypnosis. It's meditation with a goal. It's a tool that I am certified in that allows your brain to focus on one goal. It's like your brain shines a laser beam instead of all the thoughts all at once, overwhelmed, distracted. Instead, it's like we're shining a laser beam on your one state of being and your goal and your thought that is your future self's expression, where you want to go, where you want to be. This is going to be a tool that you can return to over and over and over. I have made these custom for my private clients, and women say that it feels like they are time traveling. It is like a portal to their deepest soul essence. It is kind of magic. And I'm very excited to offer these. Praying I'm offering these from my future she shed, which does not exist yet, but we are doing it. So all the links for that are in the show notes. It's gervasekolmos.com/immersion. Please reach out if you have any questions, hi@gervasekolmos.com, or you can always reach me at Instagram @gervasekolmos. I love you so much. Please share this podcast episode with another woman who needs the permission slip and the reminder that it is her birthright to day drink and dance on a rooftop in the sun on a Thursday at 2 p.m. Okay? I love you. See you back here in 2 weeks. Ciao.